what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Footcandle Films. Film news and reviews from two guys who really like movies.
This episode is brought to you by the Footcandle Film Society. For a schedule of upcoming screenings and membership information, visit the Society's website at www.footcandle.org.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Footcandle Films here on the Mesh.tv podcast network. My name is Alan Jackson. With me is Chris Fry, and we are with the Footcandle Film Society and the upcoming annual Footcandle Film Festival. And Chris, how's it going? It's a little dreary, rainy outside. It's kind of a crummy day. You happy to be in the studio with me for the next,
I'm happy to be indoors, not having to be out in the rain. I will say
our planned outdoor recording
it's
scrapped, unfortunately. So we'll have to do that another time.
I have to say, it is kind of a catch-22. I despise being out in the heat and like the blazing sun. So when I get a day or two of rain and it's not like, really hot, I like it. But yeah, you don't want, which is apparently the forecast for this week is an entire week of rain. So yeah, that's not cool.
Nope,
so
not cool at all. Not cool. But anyway, it's all right. We'll
so much for weather.
It's just, we're here indoors. We're safe. We're covered. We're okay.
Yes.
And it's good that we are because we have a lot of stuff to talk about in today's episode of this podcast. We will be reviewing the new film Weapons that just premiered this past weekend. Writer-director Zach Cregger, who brought us Barbarian that we reviewed over a year ago, I believe. We'll be discussing his latest film, Weapons. After that, we have a couple of trailers to share of some upcoming films that we have some passing interest in, mainly, I think, because of either the director involved or the studio involved. We'll see with both of these situations, with both of these films. So we'll be checking out the trailers, talking a little bit about our initial reactions to them. And then I think we'll be ending the show with another one of Chris Fry's patented movie recommendations, something for us to consider checking out here in the near future. That is the plan. Chris, did I miss anything?
I don't believe so. And I think it sounds like a good plan.
All right. So, well, then let's proceed and let's get right into our featured review, which is the film Weapons.
I just want to say how very sorry I am for...
She should be locked up until she tells us what happened.
The truth is that I want an answer just as bad as all of you.
We're talking about 17 kids in one classroom. I want to know what happened in that classroom. Why just her classroom? Why only her?
They're our children.
I love those kids.
For Weapons, writer-director Zach Cregger's follow-up to the 2022 hit Barbarian, a striking image in the teaser trailer, that of silhouettes of children leaving their homes in the middle of the night, immediately caught my attention. This translated nicely to the poster for the film, featuring this somewhat lengthy tagline. Last night at 2:17 a.m., every child from Miss Grandy's class woke up, got out of bed, went downstairs, opened the front door, walked into the dark, and they never came back. What was your experience with Cregger's follow-up effort, Alan? Did he manage to avoid the sophomore slump?
All right, so a little background here.
Because we were both high on Barbarian.
Yeah, I did like Barbarian a lot.
And knew very little about it kind of going in. We had heard buzz about it. We're like, okay, there's something to this. We went to go see it.
I did like Barbarian. I do feel like Barbarian might have slipped a little bit for me come the end of the film. I think by the ending, it kind of slightly evolved into a film I was not as interested in as I was the first 3/4 of it. But still to say, to get me to say I'm happy with a horror film is quite an undertaking anyway in itself. So it was definitely a positive win in that category. So with Weapons, I had the pleasure of going to see this film with my son, who's a emerging film student. He's surrounded by film criticism and film discussion and film analysis all day long in his work. So I always look forward to seeing a film with him. And we always had that moment right at the end of the film where it's like, we kind of just look to each other and kind of give our quick little, hey, what'd you think type of thing.
Sure.
And I always like it when my son and I are on the same page, but I find it very distressing and upsetting to me when I find out that we're not. So that has happened before.
Sure.
So my son gave this film 5 stars on his Letterboxd rating.
I saw that.
Absolutely was over the moon for this film. And at the end of the film, when I looked to each other and I could tell that he was just beaming with how much he enjoyed this, I was unfortunately had to say, well, no, I agreed with him. I absolutely loved this film.
Okay.
To every ounce of it. I have 2 minor quibbles. Quibbles, that's the word. That is a real word, isn't it? It's like a little minor little thing.
I've heard it used so much that I'm going to assume yes.
Quibbles.
It is an actual word.
I have 2 quibbles with the film. And I think that's it.
Okay.
Otherwise, this is great. I had so much fun with it. I loved how it started kind of with one set of tone and decided to have some morphing and evolving of that over time, which I like when a film does that. Keeps me not quite sure where the next step is going to lead. It being a horror film, yes, there are plenty of moments where I'm kind of peering through some slightly veiled eyes or squinted eyes, and that's a good horror film when it kind of builds up that anticipation for you. And I think it does deliver in the places it needs to. So I'm a big fan. I got a lot to say, but Chris, let me kick it over to you and see. I have us on 2 for 2 on my side of the table, liking this film. Will you make it a perfect score, or are you going to only give us a 66% score out of between the 3 of us?
So I saw it with my daughter, who sometimes I see films with.
Okay.
And, never fear. She's 23 years old, so she's plenty old enough to go see a rated horror film. She liked it, and I liked it as well. I had a sense, because you and I, we worked together, but we also, this weekend, we did an outdoor screening of a film. And while we were setting up for that, you said, so during this time we're setting this up, we're not going to discuss weapons. I was like, nope. We'll save it for the podcast recording. But in general, kind of like you sensing your son and his excitement, I'm like, if Alan even says that, that means that I'm pretty sure he liked the film.
Yeah.
Because otherwise he probably wouldn't have, just not mentioned it.
Yeah.
So what I didn't realize going into the film, but shortly into it, you realize this is what's happening. I didn't know that it was going to use the type of storytelling device that it ended up using. For me, it's like Krieger's version of Pulp Fiction mashed up with Hereditary, that I wasn't expecting. Hereditary being a straight out and out horror film that has some weird things going on with a family. And Pulp Fiction, just the way that Tarantino wrote that script and how it has kind of a circular nature and their stories intertwined. Not that he was the first person to ever tell an intertwining story, but that's just the first one I think modern day version or example that I think of. So that kind of took me a little bit by surprise, but I was like, okay, awesome. Slightly concerning thing, but it didn't end up being a quibble, is with that type of nature, you kind of hold it to a standard of like, okay, if you're going to do that, it better all kind of wrap up and work. Some examples, like some people feel like sometimes things in Memento, Christopher Nolan's Memento, don't exactly like mesh well or don't make sense in the real world, or something like Inception. People say like, well, wait, wouldn't this happen? Okay. I was having such a good time with this film that didn't bother me.
Yeah.
On a second viewing, maybe I could be like, wait, well, knowing what I know now, there's no way this could have happened. But like, it was slick enough to me that I was like, okay. And sometimes I would start to be like, wait a second, this character, we've just kind of forgotten about them. But nope, they'd come back around. I'd be like, way to go, Mr. Krieger. Yeah. I like how you...
Gold star for Mr. Krieger.
You didn't just spoon feed us.
Yeah.
There's an example of something that really wasn't spoon fed, hinted at, but not spoon fed. And this is a minor thing, so I'm not spoiling anything. With these children that go out of their homes, it just so happens, it's Miss Gandy's class. They're all missing from her class except for one kid, which there's a little mystery involved with that. But still, she's put under suspicion. She gets railroaded by the community as, you know, what's going on. Clearly, this is your involvement. You're doing something wrong here. To the extent of her car gets graffitied with the word witch on it. If you're paying attention to the film, there is no question who did that. You know, I mean, there is at first, but then later you're introduced into some new characters. And so it's made clear to you who probably did it, but you actually don't know.
No, it's never,
and they never,
100%.
now maybe that scene's left on the cutting room floor,
Yeah,
but
it didn't matter.
But it didn't matter. And I'm glad they did, because it's like, no, I get it. That's the type of thing. It's like in this interconnecting story, you put the pieces together, but he allows you to put the pieces together. He doesn't put them together and like shove your face in it. It's like, no, okay, now you know who did this, but that's not really what we're focused on. Continue moving on. And I really appreciated that. Something too, I mentioned, you know, the teaser trailer that I think you and I may have talked about on the show, but not the full length one that you can see now. But basically that one consisted of just security cam footage of children running away into the night with their hands outstretched by their sides. Weird and creepy. I think maybe this was also put in the trailer, but I completely didn't remember it, how stacked this cast was. I think maybe now that I'm talking about it, I think on the podcast you and I are like, oh, look at those names. That's interesting. But I'd forgotten that, which I'm glad I did, because Julia Garner, I was like, oh, wait. You know, okay, so Julia Garner, Josh Brolin, Alden Ehrenreich, who I totally did not remember. And then his role, I was like, what? You know, Benedict Wong, Amy Madigan, Toby Huss. I mean, just such, and there again, I think this has come up a couple of times in recent shows. I'm like, the cast didn't have to be this good. They could have had Julia Garner and Josh Brolin. Like, okay. And then we've got our big stars. We're not, you know, and then we're good. And the movie would have been good. But the fact that the people that are coming in and doing these supporting roles, it's like, they're just elevating the film constantly. Every time you see them on screen, you're like, oh, and it's like, no, they're not just there because, you know, Toby Huss is somebody you recognize. It's like, oh, he's a good character. He's like, no, but his role as a sheriff and his dialogues that he has with Josh Brolin, kind of their back and forth. It's like, no, his dialogues with Alden Ehrenreich. It's like, no, the fact that there's somebody that's bringing their A game to a small part, it elevates the film.
I could not agree more. I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to revise my earlier statement. I'm trying to recall. I truly only have one quibble.
Okay.
The second quibble is actually a broader quibble for the theater in which I saw this movie in.
Was the air conditioning not turned on?
Air conditioning was working.
Okay.
But I fear that the projector booth might have been short one bulb in its projection. And for a movie where a lot is happening in the dark. It was very, very difficult to see.
No.
So not a quibble to the film.
Okay.
I'm sure he did not shoot it that way. And I have got verification from other people around me that yes, the film was projected very dimly and it's very hard to see some things that take place in the night. So,
we will not crawl down the rabbit hole on that particular issue, but after the recording stops, I want to find out which theater you went to see, because mine I felt like was pretty good. So I'm thinking it probably went the same. But anyways, okay.
So
interesting.
One quibble.
Yes, okay.
But let me continue with your positives, because I'm on board with this.
Okay.
I think the element of this film that I enjoyed the most is the characters and their interpersonal, their dialogue, their scenes. I mean, some of the best scenes I thought in this film were the ones where it's just characters talking to each other.
Yeah.
And they don't feel the need to spell out all this background information about all of them. It's like, you get it. You understand the nature of their relationships just by very natural conversations. I did not think a single bit of line of dialogue felt forced or inappropriate or was there just for exposition's sake. It's like, no, this was a really, really well-written script.
Agreed.
Where it's like, everything just makes sense. Everything seems natural. Like, for example, Julia Gardner's character, the teacher.
Plays the teacher. Mm-hmm.
Yes. In the first 15 minutes of this film, we are set up to have one view of her.
Yes.
That is exactly what the trailer and the marketing and advertising would kind of lend you to have of this character.
Right.
And then about 20 minutes in, it's like, oh, actually there's some other aspects to this character. And that's cool. It's like, I love the fact that it's not a one-dimensional character. We're not just going to have a woman who is being unfairly accused or possibly unfairly accused of this horrific situation, and she's all put upon and distraught and all that. No, she's got another side to her that we start to get to understand, and it's like she becomes a more real character.
That's the thing. I mean, granted, this is a horror movie, and they're kind of like Barbarian, where kind of towards the latter, I think you said the last third, it kind of veers into like, okay, now we're in horror film mode, and like really weird things start happening. With this film, you have the children running away, but then the film's kind of normal. Mm-hmm. And then towards that last bit, it's like, okay, then when you finally get the reveal of what's going on, it does kind of veer into odd, strange territory. But it worked for me. And I think one of the reasons it did is because, like you're saying, with that many, there's so many characters here, their stories intertwine, but they seem very real and grounded. They're not speaking heightened dialogue or even like, which I guess is the opposite of heightened dialogue, the subpar B-movie horror dialogue. That's just people like, just kind of advancing the plot. And that's all they're doing. No, it was a lot more thought out than that. I think this film, like the script for this film and the ideas that we can kind of get into about some of the things it's saying, it's pretty deep, especially for a horror film. Yeah. Like Barbarian was commenting on like Airbnb a little bit and like kind of like renters or more and like some things going on there. Gentrification versus like neighborhood, like some of the stuff that was going on.
This is all about parenting,
the
responsibility of parents and
say
children and
parenting, communities, how we react in times of struggle and placing blame and just really there's a lot going on. And, actually won't get into too much of a spoiler territory, but the title of the film and just how I am taking it as, and it's said, I think by Brolin's character at one point, weaponizing children.
Yep.
And I'm like, wow, that gives me like goosebumps because
it does.
But like not in the context of, but it's just like in our world today, like, interesting, chilling to think about. And that, so just, there's so much going on here that I hope, I'm sure it's a complete long shot, that best original screenplay come Oscar time.
It'd be a good choice for that.
I would now granted it's like an outsider thing, but it's just so well done.
Can I just comment too? I mean, I was excited Josh Brolin being in this movie because I like him a lot in his presence. And he's good. But he's not the best. I don't think the best actual acted character in this film, which is like surprising to me. I kind of thought his role was like, oh yeah, that role is I can really dig into that. It was really good.
Okay.
Alden Ehrenreich, I thought was absolutely amazing. I mean, just he knew the part.
You know who he is. You're like, my daughter leaned over because she's like, wait, is that Solo? I'm like, yes, that's him. That's where you know.
Funny how we don't call him Han Solo. We just say Solo because that was the name of the movie. Right?
But I was like, yeah, that's him. But yeah, the fact that he's in it and he is so everybody in the film, but especially like he's content being like, I'm good. I'm part of this whole. I'm not going to draw attention and do anything really showy. But it's like, no, he was very well, all the characters, but he was very well crafted.
I was really impressed. Just his character and then his relationship with the Julia Gardner's character, Justine. Yeah. Very interesting, very well done. Their bar scene, we get to see it kind of from two different angles at times. Yep. Very interesting, very natural. Yeah, I love the... some people have kind of started to kind of equate this to like Magnolia, like the Paul Thomas Anderson.
Okay,
with the characters you're following.
Instead of Pulp Fiction, a Magnolia type thing.
It's tighter than that. Magnolia was sprawling, and it's like you're following characters, and they all have some back connections to them, but you're not seeing scenes overlapped and viewed from different views like you are here in Weapons.
Okay,
I think this works really good for the story they're trying to tell because it is a mystery. You are for 2/3 of the film, you're still trying to figure out what's going on. And you need those different perspectives to kind of put together the mystery in your head. Now, by the time it gets to the point where it's ready to tell you the mystery, those overlapping perspectives don't really matter anymore. It's like, nope, here you go. Here's the answer. And now how do all these characters that we've introduced you to, how are they either affected or what are they going to do about this situation? And that's kind of the format of the film. And it just works great. Man, Really loved it. Let's talk about the horror nature of it.
Sure.
Because I mean, again,
Have you said your quibble yet?
Oh no, I have not.
Okay,
my one quibble.
Okay.
There is, and this is, I don't know. Some people may take a lot from this, and I thought it was out of place in the film.
Okay.
There is a single shot. I will just say it is, granted, it's during a dream sequence. A single shot of I don't want to give too much, an item floating in the sky above a house in a dream sequence. It's during the Archer, who played by Josh Brolin, his dream sequence as he's approaching a house. There is a giant item floating in the sky that was
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, and it honestly just it brought me out of the film so much because it's like it was done in a style that was not a style that the rest of the film had decided to do anything with, incorporate. And I could not tell if it was just trying to beat us over the head with a visual representation of what it's trying to say the film is about, or not. And I've actually read, since seeing the film, I've read a lot of people trying to talk about that shot. And even Zach Greger was asked about it. And he's like, I just thought it looked cool and it'd be a kind of an interesting thing to get people talking. I'm like, yeah, but it did for just a moment. It's like, you're doing so good with the rest of this film with trying to create some allegories for some broader, more interesting topics. But then you put this one visual, which is a very on the nose theme.
Has to deal with weapon.
It does have to do with a weapon. And it has to do with a weapon that is, unfortunately has become associated with children's safety over the years. So that is, again, that's the thing where it's like, I didn't need that. I did not need it. I don't think the film needed that. And it just pulled me out for just long enough to kind of say, oh, please don't let that be where this film is going, or trying to be so on the nose with its messaging that it was distracting. But anyway, so that's it. I forgot about it 2 minutes later, but it was still, if I had to look back and say what was anything that didn't work in the film, that's it. That's the only thing I got.
Interesting. On the, he does see this. It's a gun. Yeah, a gun.
And like an AK-47
and it has,
machine gun.
I think, supposedly like a bullet count or something, but it says the 217 on the side. So the fact that was on there, and I guess, he's the father who's one of the parents whose child has gone missing. His name's Matthew, and he's very like wanting to find a solution. So I think it didn't take me out. But I totally see what you're saying. And upon reflection, because I'd forgotten what it was until you reminded me it was there. Yeah. Upon reflection, though, and upon learning a little bit, some trivia background about the film, I will say it's interesting. His son, Archer's son, Matthew, goes missing at 217, just like all the other kids do. Matthew 217 in the Bible talks about a massacre of children.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And a slaughter of innocents. Mm-hmm. And that's not, nothing biblical is brought into the film, but just the fact that that's there.
That's cool.
Kind of interesting.
I'm okay with that. I don't mind the symbolism and kind of how it refers to it.
Sure. I
just thought the visual of the machine, the assault rifle floating in the sky, a giant version of it kind of in his dream. It just, nothing else in this film kind of led to that moment or involved that moment. And it just seemed like something thrown in to kind of be provocative. And I didn't feel like the film needed that. So
okay. So
anyway, that's it.
I'll mention something kind of, I have two, and these are not quibbles, but just questions, I think, because kind of like you, mm-hmm. I admire the film so much, but we've said a lot of positives. So if I'm going to speak to things that maybe took me out a little bit.
Yeah.
But upon second viewing, I may be able, and one of them I can already rationalize. Actually, both of them. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll start with, we talked about in the third, Alan and I, we really enjoy people going to the cinema. We don't like to spoil things. So I'm going to do a little bit of tap dancing here around. There's a reveal of someone who's behind a lot of mischief in this film. Prior to us knowing that, other characters in the film, for instance, Julia Garner's character, and there's also a guy, my daughter thought he was one of the funnier people in the film, unfortunate fellow who's down on his luck and is a bit of a drug addict, but some of his kind of goofy reaction stuff, they see flashes of which I'm not sure why they would if they don't know, but they haven't met this person yet. So I don't see how that really holds, other than to give the audience a little bit of a jump scare, which is what it is. But the jump scare kind of doesn't make sense because they wouldn't have that visual in your head unless you say the person doing this is the justification I'll give, I guess, because I like the film so much, unless the person that we get the flashes of is kind of somehow seeping into the consciousness of this whole town. And if that's the case, then okay, I'll give that a pass.
The fact that
you understand where I'm going with.
And I bought it okay because I think as we learn later in the film, there are forces at play that allow the reach of this individual to be a little more
there. So that
tentacle-like out there in the community. That's the impression I got.
So I'll dismiss that quote and then definitely dismiss it upon hearing, your interpretation, which I think is where I was going.
Yeah. I mean, if you think too hard about it, it's a little, it's
shaky,
a bit of a stretch, but yeah, I was okay with it.
So the other one, which by the time the film concluded, I totally, was like, okay, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Alex, who is the child who is in the classroom, who does not disappear, although all the other kids did. I think that actor, which let me call out his name real quick, Kerry Christopher, I think he is amazing.
Yeah.
Never seen him in anything before. I looked up on IMDb. Apparently, he did do quite a few episodes of Days of Our Lives, so he comes from a TV background.
Yeah.
But I thought he was really good because he says a lot with his eyes, with his face, and he gives you a very nuanced portrayal of this kid who's going through it. He's been through a lot, and just that, the attitudes of the town towards him, of the teacher Julia Garner towards it, just got a lot going on. Thought he was great. When it gets to his portion, and I'll say that is, I believe, the final section of the film, because the way this film does it slates I can't remember the teacher's name, but it says
Justine.
different. Okay, Justine.
We had Justine, then Archer, then Paul, then
So places their names on screen, and then you kind of see things. So that's where I was going with kind of you were saying Magnolia, Pulp Fiction type thing. When it got to Alex's portion, I was like, okay, and then something about the way it started. I don't know if I felt the machinery of the film, which, by the time it's okay, this is probably the wrap-up portion. I felt a little uneasy that it was maybe wrapping things up too tight, or everything was coming into too sharp a focus too easily or something. I don't know. And it's probably the film snobbing me, but I kind of forgave it as some new things that I wasn't quite thinking would happen. And man, the feeling of watching the final chase through neighborhood houses in a theater with reactions of those around me, including my daughter next to me, has to be the best movie going experience of the year thus far.
I will
because
say,
it was
yes.
It was just, and I laughed at one
no,
point.
it was,
It
was kind of meant to be a release.
And
it was after 2 hours of dread and there's humor throughout this film. Don't get me wrong. There actually is more humor than I expected.
There was some humor there too. So it's
more than
weird
I
that he can really. I mean, this is a horror film.
Yeah.
But there are touches of humor throughout it.
Yeah.
Just to keep it a little light enough so you're not just going through.
Well, the fact that we're dealing with such a heavy subject matter with the disappearance of children and all in a community, we're just wrought with agony on this. But that closing sequence. The fact that we can laugh about it because it was laugh worthy. And they were playing it for jokes too. It was they had some cutaway shots of people in their houses seeing what's going on. It's it definitely was meant to be a release, for the end of the film. That experience in the theater, yes, absolutely warranted. But I will say there's one moment in this film that was my favorite theatrical experience.
It wasn't that. Okay.
Yeah, that was a close second.
Okay.
Let me just say it has to do with a car door, a car inside of a car sequence.
Oh.
And a car door noise. That shot, or lack of shot. That framing
leaving just enough to the imagination.
Yes.
Right.
The theater around me it was just this audible gasp
Yes.
and this, oh no. type
My
of
daughter
thing.
looked away from the screen at that point.
Yeah. And that was amazing. That was so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The fact that this film generated those kind of audience moments, like, tells you it's working. I mean, I'm in an audience full of a bunch of teenagers that I could not tell if they were really paying attention to the film in the first half or not. They were
Oh, interesting.
talking and up and down
Okay.
and moving all around the theater or whatever. But by the second half, everybody was locked in and everybody's in this. And then
Right.
you got like the gasp in the car door scene and
Yeah.
you got the ending with the reaction. Yeah, they all got locked in pretty good by the end. So that's a good sign. Yeah.
Something too that I appreciate with Krieger's two films thus far, and Barbarian, yes, I remember there being some shots that were very like deliberate and paced, and like just the cinematography and all of it. I remember I can't call it specific things right now, but I remember them that they I thought a lot about it. This film just kind of carries it on, and it's a lot more than you would expect from a genre film, like a horror film. Just the way that the imagery and the way he puts things in the foreground sometimes, or like that shot you mentioned, the car shot, knowing, okay, I can rely on sound here. And I'm not even doing it like real abruptly. I'm not relying on strict jump scares. I don't need to.
Right.
There's a shot inside a house with, I think it's the adult drug addict again, where he's in the foreground and some individuals in the background
Yeah.
are shown moving. Again, I love the feel like you know what's coming before the characters know what's coming, and it wasn't done as a jump scare. And I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
I like that, because
that's
it's
good.
like I'm relying on playing with the audience and rather than just a cheap jump throw. And I realize jump throws, that's part of horror movies. And yeah, there are some in here, but like that's not the main way he's trying to entertain us. It's just waiting for one jump scare after another. And I just, so much. The score I thought was really great in the film.
was great.
It's the right balance of like being creepy, but being cinematic more than that.
Yeah.
Like it's like, no, we're really
There's some
going
really
for something
sharp
here.
moments with the score, like almost like jarring.
Yeah.
That just, I don't know. It worked really well. Can I throw out and say, and again, we're not going to get into spoilery stuff on this.
Sure.
I'm just going to throw out and say, you mentioned the list when you mentioned the cast, but
Yes.
there's one actress that I did not know was in this film. Haven't seen her in anything in quite a while personally,
Yeah.
and was really surprised with her performance and
Yes.
role in this film. Amy Madigan, I'll just
Yes.
say, is actress. She's in the cast list and
Yeah.
all that, but surprising.
Yes.
And it took me a few minutes after the film to kind of realize who that was. And
I admit,
it's good.
I thought she looked familiar, but could not place her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, told my daughter after, I'm like, yeah, that person, like, she's been around for a while, but I don't know her name. I can't like. And then I was like, oh wow! When I looked up Amy Madigan, saw who she was and everything. Yeah, amazing. I just want to get on the record right now. Can we start the Amy Madigan campaign for Underdog nominee for Best Supporting Actress?
Yeah.
Because
I think,
yeah, she does play a very pivotal
yes,
role.
absolutely. Absolutely. No, I really enjoyed this film. I'll tell you what, between, thinking about this year so far, Chris, in the movies, I mean, it's been a really good year for horror films. And if you want to consider Sinners a pseudo kind of horror slant to it, which I think is fair to say.
Yeah, I mean they're vampires.
I
so,
love
yeah.
the fact that, between Sinners and now with Weapons, and there's been some other horror films too that I think have been well received. I
You
haven't
and I have
seen
not
them
checked
all.
out
No.
together yet. But I
No.
hear that's supposed to be something.
And, the Final Destination film was
Yeah.
supposedly supposed to be pretty good for that kind of film, which I pass on that one as well. But, even Sinners and Weapons, like
Sure.
two original, not based on a franchise, not
Right.
competing, that are horror films, but yet also
There's a lot going on.
there's a lot more going on with the film. And man, it's been a good year for those.
And
so.
it has been a good year. I would say, kind of wrapping up too, Weapons, walking out of the theater, it's interesting you bring up Sinners, because I was talking to my daughter, she's always like, what do you think? And and I said, I have a list, ongoing list in my head of like some of my favorite films of the year. I would not have thought Weapons would be on there. And it definitely is. And I was
Yeah.
like, and the one I was like, and another good film this year and I brought up Sinners. She's like, oh yeah, that was really good too. I'm like, so this has been a great year for film. And those, I mean, Ryan Coogler, I guess I did kind of expect, I was like, Sinners, I'm interested.
Yeah.
And then it was awesome. It was maybe even better than I thought it was going to be.
It was.
With this, I was interested because we'd liked Barbarian, but I had no idea I was going to like it as much as I did. So that was, and I, as per usual, you do a good film, then I'm really interested to see what you're going to do next, which I think you have a little bit of insight into.
Well, I have read what Krieger's next film is, and supposedly he is doing his take or a stab at the Resident Evil franchise, a new film in that based on the old video game series.
Okay.
And there have been some movies that I can honestly say I've never seen.
I have not seen any of them.
I don't know how many there were. I'm sure there was at least 2. Don't know if there was more than that.
I feel like there were at least, because I feel like there's some colons involved. So it's like
Yeah.
colon subtitles.
So I was a little mixed when I heard that news. I'm like, kind of just, he's on a roll with original content. I was hoping he didn't have to do a franchise based thing anytime soon, or IP, an old IP based one. But, at the same time, if you say, all right, look, there's going to be a Resident Evil movie made, I'd rather somebody like a Zach Krieger take a stab at it than not. So, okay.
Well, and that is one way, if you're trying to appeal to a bigger audience that maybe what saw the original Resident Evil franchise, which you and I are not a part of, you and I are now might be interested in going to see a film just because his name's attached to it. So,
although, I mean, it's fair to say, Weapons made a lot of money this weekend. It was actually the number 1 movie in the box office, beating Freakier Friday, which I think was surprising. Made close to $40 million, which is crazy for a, quote, small budget horror film that's not based on an existing IP or franchise in any way. And of course, rated R. Yeah, that was a big win. So that was quite interesting to see it happen. It bodes well. It bodes well for things.
Hooray
It bodes
for
well
independent
for Zach Krieger as well, for sure. Well, a quick production note. I don't know if you recall that this was the film months and months ago. I had pegged that Pedro Pascal was going to be in this film. And so it was going to be kind of interesting in that Pedro Pascal had both this film, had Fantastic Four, had Eddington all in the same summer. And it's like, oh man, that's crazy. He
had Freaky Stories or whatever.
But that was like a little earlier in the year. But I mean, as far as summertime.
Right.
It turns out he was cast. He was supposed to play the Josh Brolin character. That was going to be Pedro Pascal in early pre-production.
I can totally
because
see
of
that.
shifting schedules and all that, he had to back out. Supposedly, Zach Krieger said he had an entirely different cast set up for this film, and he had to change the cast kind of late in pre-production because of some challenges or scheduling things that came up. So I'm like, well, he landed on a good one. I mean, it worked what he got. So I just wonder how I can see Pascal slipping into the Josh Brolin role, but I will say something about the dynamic between Brolin and Jennifer Garner working to get Julia Garner.
Not Jennifer Garner.
Yeah.
That would have been a different cast as well.
Yeah.
But Julia Garner, I liked kind of their back, and Alden Ehrenreich. Yeah, the way the pieces fit together, everything worked. It'd be interesting to see what the alternate cast would be, but All right. Well, that is Weapons, which obviously, as you can tell, we are quite effusive about. Seems like we both liked quite a bit. Yes.
I'm a huge fan. I cannot actually wait to see it again. I can't decide if I want to go to the theater to see it or if I'm okay sitting on my hand and waiting till it shows up online or streaming to watch it. But either way, it will be watched again at some point in the next 60 to 90 days, I'm pretty sure. Hopefully. Okay. Anyway, so we'll see.
Sure.
All right. Let's take a quick break, Chris. And when we come back, we've got a couple of trailers to play of some new films coming out. And we have your recommendation to share for a film you want to recommend to everybody listening. So stay tuned. You're listening to Foot Candle Films, and we will be right back in a moment.
Want to discover great podcasts or maybe even start one of your own? Welcome to The Mesh, Western North Carolina's podcast network built for creators and listeners alike. From local sports and business to comedy and culture, The Mesh is home to unique voices and fresh perspectives. Do you have something you want to say? The Mesh can help you bring your podcast to life with the tools, support, and platform you need to be heard. Check us out at themesh.tv, where great podcasts live and new ones are born.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Foot Candle Films here on the Mesh.tv podcast network. We had our effusive review of Weapons in the first half of the show. Always nice, Chris, when we have a film that we are both big fans of and come away very excited to talk about. I was, at least with this film, for sure. Let's talk about a couple of films coming out in the coming months, and maybe they'll be just as effusive praise as there was for Weapons. I don't know. We'll see. First one coming up. This one has some potential, but let's see. We're going to take a look at the teaser trailer in a minute. The film is called Jay Kelly. And that's Jay, and then the name Kelly, Kelly, person's name. And this is starring George Clooney, Adam Sandler, and Laura Dern. It is directed by, remind me,
Noah Baumbach.
Noah Baumbach.
Yeah.
We saw the last film he did.
Was it Marriage Story?
Marriage Story.
Okay.
Which I loved.
Yeah.
One of my favorites that year.
It was good. I could actually probably revisit that.
I want to as well. Yeah, that's a really good movie. Marriage Story is great. Was that the last film he did? Seemed like he might have done something since then.
And did he co-write the screenplay for Barbie with Greta Gerwig?
I think he did have a hand in writing.
Okay.
Yes.
But yeah, last film that he actually directed, I'm pretty sure was.
Well, this is where our handy intern is.
Here we go.
Our intern is running down the halls. I see him out in the window, running down the halls with a paper in his hand to give me a piece of information.
Nice.
If we could just wait for just a second, the intern will be here. I hear his footsteps coming closer. We have a really long hallway.
Yes.
And so he's coming down the hallway.
Imagine someone
feverishly.
looking like a newsie from that maybe Disney
That's
movie,
what it is.
with a paper in his hand running down the hall.
Actually, I'm envisioning a Hudsucker Proxy going through the mailroom with somebody with the blue letter. That's what this guy is like.
Nice.
Coming up and doing. Yes, he is correcting us. White Noise was the last film that Noah Baumbach did with
Gotcha.
Adam Driver and
Right. He was second working with Adam Driver.
Yeah, and that was Adam Driver and Greta Gerwig.
Okay.
In that was back in 2022.
Okay, and these Marriage Story, White Noise, and this film have all been Netflix joints.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. They have been. Okay, so Jay Kelly, starring George Clooney and, as I mentioned, Adam Sandler and Laura Dern. Let's go ahead. Netflix is not giving me any synopsis of the film, so let's just watch the teaser trailer and see what we get out of it ourselves.
Okay.
Here we go.
Jay Kelly. Jay Kelly. And action. Jay Kelly.
Jay Kelly is a hero of cinema.
Jay Kelly.
What do you say to people who say you only play yourself?
I think what you do is magic.
You know how difficult it is to be yourself? You try it.
You make movies. That's what the world wants from you.
Isn't Jay Kelly?
You're never alone.
Really? I think I'm always alone. Thanks a lot. You are.
Okay.
Man.
So, that is the trailer for Jay Kelly.
Yeah, I don't want to see another trailer.
Nope, that's it.
I don't want to read anything from Netflix synopsis about what it's about.
Well, credit to Netflix. When you go to Netflix's page about Jay Kelly, there's nothing about it other than that teaser trailer, and you have those three names of the people in the cast, and that's it.
And then towards the end of the trailer, we get a laundry list of so many names. I don't want to.
No, they were so
just
fast.
Knew it's like, but it looks amazing. It looks like he has a great cast. It looks like, Baumbach has a way of doing drama and comedy together. That because even Marriage Story, very serious subject matter about a couple going through a divorce and breaking up and stuff, but there were comedic elements in there, so it wasn't a slog. And this looks like it has a lot of the same thing. Yeah.
I wonder, and again, I'm just going to keep it as a wonder.
Sure.
I wonder if this is kind of meant to be the ultimate George Clooney performance.
Oh man,
it's like kind of a little bit of a meta take. He even mentions Cary Grant, which Cary Grant's always been someone he's kind of been
looks
referred
a little bit
to. He looks like him.
Yeah,
it's kind of got a very similar acting style.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of meta commentary maybe going on with
line
this.
Thrown out about you always just play yourself.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot there.
So I love that. If that's the angle they're going with this, perfect. Great. Yeah. Serve it up. I'm ready for it. Whew. This is coming. What was the date?
I was so distracted by getting excited about the movie. I didn't see the date. I think it is this year, though. I would imagine a November timeline if I had to guess, but I would think See, the intern already ran back down the hallway in the other
I know.
direction, so now he'd have to print something
I see him
out.
like he's stopping because he hears that we were talking about him. He's kind of like spinning.
Oh, wait.
I hope he doesn't get off balance, kind of making a quick double take to come back. As he's making his way back, he's clumping down the hallway. I hear him. He's close. And it looks like we've got a release date. Okay. He's saying, yep, December 5th. December 5th is the date that we have release on Netflix of J. Kelly.
So we may have a theatrical release depending on how excited Netflix is about the film prior to that.
It's possible. So it looks like the film has got a limited release in the United States on November 14th.
Because we know Oscars can't happen without a theatrical release. So.
But then it just says December 5th, United States, internet. So that would be, that's Netflix. It's on the internet. And that is when we will be able to see J. Kelly if you don't live in one of the limited screening theater cities in November.
Gotcha.
Okay, man. Not only we reviewed a great film, we saw a great little teaser trailer and got us excited about a film. Hopefully expectations are not too high for that one now.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and see if we can continue this trend. We have one more trailer to share. And this one I picked out for a couple reasons. One, it's by A24, which is our kind of studio of choice here on the Foot Candle Films podcast. We generally excited anytime we see an A24 film coming out. At least we're interested, if nothing else.
Sure.
Here, this is a psychological drama, which done. Got it. I'm on board. Or you got me there. And it's the title also got me. The title is If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You.
Okay.
This film is starring Rose Byrne. And then we also have Conan O'Brien, which I don't know if I've ever seen Conan O'Brien in a film before, like acting.
I don't know if I have either.
Unless he was playing himself in like a cameo or somewhere.
A little cameo or something here or there.
So yes, this film is coming out October 10th in theaters. Basically the log line for the film is Rose Byrne plays a therapist who's struggling to manage her life. Conan O'Brien plays her therapist. And
so a therapist with a therapist. Is that what you
Okay. A therapist struggling to manage her life also featured in the trailer are Conan O'Brien as Linda's therapist.
Okay, got you.
Okay, yeah. So that's we got that going on for us. Christian Slater supposedly at least is a voice in the film. That's all I'm seeing from the cast list.
Okay.
And ASAP Rocky, am I saying that right? Or ASAP Rocky? I don't know how to say that.
Yeah, I don't know how you say it. And I think the S is a $, maybe.
Well, here in the comingsoon.net listing of this, they just have it as capital ASAP.
Okay, well
Rocky,
then let's
no
say
$sign.
ASAP Rocky. Let's go with that.
ASAP Rocky. Yeah. Sure. Sounds good. Producers on this, we do have a lot of people producing it. One of the producers is Josh Safdie. So anyway, why don't we take a look at the trailer for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. This is, again, coming out in theaters from A24 on October 10th. Here's the trailer.
Mommy, the bathroom has water in it. Come quickly!
I try very hard to be in control of her and everything, but may as well not even be there at all.
I don't like how it feels in my sock.
Just stay there, okay? Just hold on.
How deep is it? Are we gonna die? Is the house gonna fall on top of us? Mommy!
Hey, we just got home, and you would not believe
We are out of time. I have another patient coming, so.
Wait, now? What about the 10-minute warning?
Yeah, I just wasn't paying attention.
You didn't respond to the email that I sent you about my dream.
I don't respond to my clients' dream emails.
All right. Well, that is the trailer for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You with Rose Byrne, Conan O'Brien, and ASAP Rocky. That's
all of which we saw in the trailer.
We did. Yeah. We saw them all in there. Chris, your initial thoughts?
So it looks, again, trailers, you never really, but it looks like there will be some comedic elements, but I can definitely see where it is a tense drama, psychological drama. Yes. Could end up being maybe a one-timer for me because it looks very, very intense. A struggling, mother trying to hold things together and things. But it does look, I am curious, and I'm curious to see Conan O'Brien in his role. Was not familiar with the director's name that they flashed up on screen. So it may be my introduction to a new filmmaker, which I'm always, happy to have happen. I'm curious. It looks good. And the fact that it's coming out when it is makes me wonder if, there's any positioning going on for award season or no, just, that's just when it happens to roll.
So Rose Byrne, obviously the lead in the film.
Yes.
I've always liked her. I think she's a great performer. I don't think she's really been given that role that's like elevated her to like really let us see her really, really shine in a performance. This seems positioned to do so. So I'm looking forward to it from that regard for sure. You mentioned the director,
Mary Bronstein.
Mary Bronstein. Looks like Mary Bronstein, films I am not familiar with, a lot of shorts. I think as a director, she's also an actress herself.
Okay.
But as a director, it looks like that she has done a film called Yeast back in 2008, and then a short film called Round Town Girls in 2009. But that's it.
Okay.
Beyond that, she's also a writer. So she has written the same. She wrote all the content she has directed. And then as an actress, I'm trying to see if there's anything. Yeah, I mean, she's done a little more acting, but nothing I'm familiar with. So yeah, it could be a very new face for us to see their work. So,
okay.
Yeah, Mary Bronstein.
Cool.
As the director and writer for this film, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. That will be coming out, I think I said October, so we're just a pretty short time away from that. So we will look forward to see how that comes about. And I'm anxious to see Conan O'Brien in a acted role.
Yeah.
It looked good in the trailer, so we'll see if that holds up or not. So, okay, Chris, I think we are done with our news section. That was our trailers we wanted to discuss. 2 interesting films that we're both kind of curious about in the coming months. But let's talk about something that somebody could watch right now or this weekend or whenever they have a free moment. Chris, what recommendation do you have for us this week of a film or movie to consider watching?
I'm going to recommend a film from 2024. It's called Oddity, and it's directed by Damian McCarthy, who'd done one other feature and had done a lot of shorts, and it is in the realm or genre of a horror film. It's not a necessarily like really violent or bloody horror film, so it's maybe more people would consider it more of like a suspense type thing. But it's good. It's very like independent. I didn't recognize like a lot of actors in it, but it was really well done. I believe it's a British production. I'm not sure. But it's called Oddity. It's streaming on Hulu, and I think you can get it through Hoopla as well. The storyline is a woman's twin sister dies under mysterious circumstances, and then she uses cursed items to try to find out who's responsible. So yeah, it's an odd oddity. It's an odd kind of plot, but it works, and it is creepy in all the right ways. So it's when I'd recommend a filmmaker I wasn't familiar with before I watched this film. So it's from 2024. Like I said, it's on Hulu, and I think you can get usually through the library loan service Hoopla. But
all right.
I recommend it. And we're in August still, but as October steadily marches towards us, I always try to have, recommendations of horror films. So this is an early recommendation for spooky season. And we reviewed a horror film, so I thought I'd try to pair another lesser known horror film with it. So that is Oddity.
Okay. Great. Sounds good. Another one to add to my ever-growing list of films I'll never get a chance to catch up and watch. But
sure.
Thank you, though, for keeping that list healthy for me. All right, Chris. Well, I think that wraps us up for today. So you gave your recommendation of Oddity, and we had our trailer discussions for Jay Kelly and If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. And then, of course, we had our review of the film Weapons at the top of the show. Chris, if anybody wants to circle back with us on any of these items I just summarized here, how can they do so, and what should they be looking forward to from us in the coming month?
Sure. You can send us an email if you have a comment to info@footcandle.org. You can also follow us on social media and leave some quick thoughts. We're on Twitter /X, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. Just look us up, Foot Candle Film. That's how you'll find us. Do us a favor. If you like the show, consider leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your favorite podcast from, because it'll help us reach new listeners. Alan was referring to it. You've heard us refer to it. This will be the first time in this show, but normally every episode we name drop it, the Foot Candle Film Festival, September 19th through the 28th. It is also coming up. We would encourage you to come travel to Western North Carolina. We'll be showing lots of films. We're going to have filmmakers travel here and give a Q&A after the films. It should be a lot of fun. All the information you need about the film festival is online at footcandlefilmfestival.com.
All right. That's it. Well, thank you everybody for listening today. I hope you enjoyed it. And we look forward to talking to everybody next week when we get back together. And thanks a lot. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
See you in the ticket line.
Watch films in the company of like-minded people in the dark. Watch films in the underground. We won't let anyone know where you are. The films that don't make it to Carmike at the mall, or ones that were famous when Grandpa would watch films out of the reverence of the heritage of an art. Watch films through the courtesy of Foot Candle Film Society.
Special thanks to Carpal Tuller for the show theme music. For more about Carpal Tuller, visit www.carpaltuller.com. You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.